here.
Okay, we're ready. We gotta make it. I got it.
Do you want me to make the announcement?
All right, I'm going live. Bye. Everybody? Okay, sorry for all these technical difficulties we've had. Obviously, this is a very popular talk. There's a lot of you here. We are simultaneously casting this in room 2405 upstairs. If you'd like a seat. One thing we cannot have is people sitting in the stairs here. That's a fire code violation, so you will have to remove. You'll have to sit somewhere else or stand in the back. But if you would like a seat, 2405. It's just upstairs. We're just going to be broadcasting this live there, so that may be a better option. But like I said, there can't be people on the standing there. If Lowtax doesn't have any objections, you can. There are a couple spots along the wall, maybe, but just for about 3 or 4 people. So, not that many though, not the whole subside. Okay, are there a few more people who'd like to come down front, like first 10 in line? Don't be shy.
Come on, yeah, you! Law and order! Come on! Yeah, come on! Yeah! Here you go! Here you go! Here you go! Here's my business card. I can't get rid of them. Yeah, you can! Thank you very much! Come on, more! Come on, you with the hat! Okay, you without the hat. Come on! Free business card. Okay. I thought I already gave you one. I already got one. You already got one? I'll take it. Go back. You get one. Thank you. 2 more seats. Come on, guy holding the jacket over your shoulder like you're debonair. Come on. Oh, and I got food too. Come down here, I'll give you a business card for food. Here you go.
Thank you.
Sure. Here you go.
Can I go?
Yeah, you can have one too. Thanks. Okay. I'm just giving them away because I haven't been able to do this since I got printed them up 2 years ago because I just sit in my basement all day.
Okay. All right. Hey, we're just going to use microphones because the other one's not working.
Let's see who's going to suck, and people are going to be pissed upstairs if they can't hear you.
Okay, guys, welcome. Clearly, this man needs no introduction. Founder of SomethingAwful.com and, city name sports team. Let's all welcome Rich Lowtax Kayanka.
Thank you. Don't look, you're ruining it. How do you start it? As you can tell, this is the first time I've ever used PowerPoint. And I wrote this entire speech. I finished it up at 3:30 this morning. This is the first time I've spoke since high school, and I had my fly down the entire time. So occasionally I'll be looking at it. I'm not actually doing something obscene. I'm trying to make sure I'm not doing something obscene. Anyways, this speech has something to do with the internet. They asked me to speak here for reasons I still don't know. I've got to hold this microphone and the clicker in one hand and my speech in the other. And I don't have the coordination for that, so please forgive me. With that out of the way, I'd like to begin this. And the clicker's not working. Okay, well, this ruins half the fun, but I still have the laser pointer. Okay. Richard, it seems I have underestimated your ability to fail. For that, I apologize. Not to you, but to the people who would enjoy seeing me tearing your little world apart just that much more. It's a shame, really, that you ignored all of my warnings. Perhaps, if you had just a few brain cells left in that... What? He even spelled this wrong. In that weren't circling the bowl, you would have realized how pointless and counterproductive this whole thing was and quit a long time ago. This little venture of yours has failed in every level. I would guess that you take as much enjoyment... Oh, put it again. Hit it twice. Hit it twice. This is the worst speech ever. I would guess that you take as much enjoyment as anyone might at seeing these ridiculous business models fail like the insane fantasies they were. The pseudo-reality of internet commerce has finally been perceived for what it is, and the only people left are those who are lucky, smart, or both. Now being exposed to so much talk of this, for what, like over a fucking year now, have you ever stopped to consider how you ever came to the conclusion that a parasite like yourself could possibly hope to survive in this environment? The corporate tit is gone, and you are completely incapable of surviving on your own. You think these failed companies had stupid business models? How about yours? All the pictures have really awesome animations that come in. They just fly all over the place. I am so proud of that. That horse... It like wasn't there, rotated around all over the place. It was great. I knew the advertising market was going to collapse years ago because it's based on the assumption that banners are effective. Think about it. You aren't entirely dependent on advertising. Yet, the people who you try to attract are people who aren't going to click on, let alone buy whatever stupid crap that is being advertised. Did you actually think that it was going to last forever? Everybody knows that it doesn't fucking work, and most sites have to beg their readers to click just to pay the server bill. You're an idiot, Richard, and I seriously mean that. The contemptuously stupid decisions you made regarding the various networks you joined don't matter at all because the entire idea was flawed from the start. Enjoy your last moments as a free man. You'll soon be shoveling shit for the rest of your life at some nameless corporation, a vacant look forever edged on your face. Years from now, when you're no better off than when you started, when it finally hits you, that it's all been nothing but a wasted lie, think of me. Think of me, Richard. And when you do, realize that I was the only beacon of logic and truth in this sad menagerie. You seem predestined for failure, however, so I doubt there's anything anyone can do for you. Just remember, when the joy is gone, when you're clawing at the boundaries of your little world, you always had a choice. This was an email that I received 2 years ago from somebody who was unhappy that I banned him from the forums. That's word art up there. See that? It's like 3D. It's like, the words are coming out, but it's not. It's just 2D. It's just up there. As some of you may or may not know, I used to work at GameSpy for about 7 months before they fired me. Yeah. It was just, this was during the dot-com, boom and bust days. It was right when the bubble was about to burst, so everybody was going crazy. That was when they hired about 45 people just to do MP3 spy. You remember what a wonderful success that was? I'm sure some of you are using it right now, right? You're podcasting to MP3. What the hell was it? It's just MP3 spy. Sorry, next one. Here's a lot of words. Every day we'd come in, my boss... Every day we'd come in, my boss, Mark Surface, would talk about, we'd have a little meeting. We'd pretend that we're an actual legitimate company. This is back when there was about 9 people, and we were growing really, really fast because money was flowing in from God knows where. And he would say, what we got to do, we have to enable the community. He'd say that over and over. We have to enable the community. The big thing here is enabling the community. And every day we say, yes, Mark, we'll enable the community. I don't know what it means. He would just saying it over and over. But, really, what does enabling the community mean? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's one of those buzzwords that people were just throwing around because they wanted money from VCs, and that's basically what it was. He said over and over, and, I got fired from there, and I still didn't even know what enabling the community it was, and I don't think anybody there does. I actually was watching this show last night when I was writing this. And right now, we're competing with the ray tracing guy. And I got to tell you, we got more people here than ray tracing, so thank you very much. We kicked his ass. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, ray tracing. Go to hell. It's been pretty much... Oh, we're not there yet. What the... He ruined the ferret. I'm sorry. It's been a, pretty much a 5-year road that I've taken to get where I am today, failing out of engineering school and yet speaking at one. And now I am talking about the internet, the same slot as the ray tracing guy, and kicking his ass. And so I'm sorry this was a ruin for you. So why am I giving this speech? First of all, another one. You see him spin around? How do they do that? Next one. Again. I grew up and moved back to Lee Summit, Missouri, which is just basically a flat, desolate patch of land. There used to be cows there. Now there's strip malls, and it's populated with more fat people than you can see just going to a fat person convention for fat people with a fat person next to you. And Lee Summit is kind of an odd town because they've got the ultimate redneck pizza place called Pappy's Pizza with an I at the end. And the logo is a naked man wearing a barrel with suspenders and a shotgun with the kind of the muskets that the pioneers used to use. And he's running. But I don't know what he's running from. And the place is so bad that I ate a pizza there and there's a token inside the cheese. Maybe that was like a free gift for eating it or something. College, I went to Vanderbilt University. I stayed there for 4 years, and then they kind of encouraged me to leave forcefully. And some things to notice about this picture is his shoes lose definition in one of the frames. He's got shoes, and then he's got, like, brown concrete blocks. Same thing with her, too. But that pig, man, he's going at it. I went there originally for computer engineering. That didn't work out, so I switched to computer science. That didn't work out, so I switched to general engineering. And if any of you know, general engineering is kind of like the communications degree of engineering. But seriously, what are you going to do with a general engineering degree? Oh, yeah, I'm a general engineer. I'm generally engineering this thing right here. I took a few courses on how to make traffic lights, and then I know something about a computer, and that's generally it. I just made that joke up. You like that? Thanks. And the thing about Vanderbilt was, in addition to me being a colossal idiot, I couldn't understand anybody there because 75% of the people are from Texas and 25% are from Malaysia, and all the people in the engineering school are engineers. So with all that together, I had no idea what was going on. The only thing that I could do is pick who I thought was the smartest person in class and try to cheat off them. And it didn't work because they would give different tests. Do they still do that for every row? I hate that. How are you supposed to cheat? They don't think of students sometimes. I spent a majority of my time watching The Price is Right during the college. It was really good. And when I think back to my college memories, that's all that's on TV, like in my brain. Because I would wake up and watch The Price is Right, and before I go to bed, it'd still be on. But I really liked the show, and I liked the one where the mountain climber goes up. That was one of my favorites. Next one. Again. Next one. Okay, now we start getting into the whole .com wonderful things. Like I said, started with GameSpy, then I moved to GameFan, then I moved to Backbeat Media, I think, and then I moved to eFront. You might have heard of eFront before, the infamous chat logs. Anyways, the most exciting thing that I'd have to say, besides not getting paid for about a year, which is really great because, not having checks come in when you expect them to come in, you're like, hey, I wonder if a check's going to come in today. And then you're like, I didn't get paid. eFront was probably the most weird company I ever worked for because they really encapsulate the whole .com bust. It was run by this guy named Sam Jane, and his lead programmer was some 14-year-old hacker who actually did have an AOL account and lived with his parents, and he worked remote. And eFront did wonderful things like, this was back before the PlayStation 2 actually came out. On all their network sites, they had PlayStation 2 giveaways. Sign up your email address here. Sign up your home address. Sign up, the size of your penis length. And you might win a PS2. It's going to be great. PS2 giveaway. We're going to give away all these PS2s. You know who won? The programmer. Then they had this thing, Hawaiian getaway, 5 nights and 6 days, or 6 days and 5 nights, and it's in Hawaii, next to Hawaii. It's Hawaii. Everybody loves Hawaii. You know who won that one? Guy in the advertising department. And it was just like everything gone wrong. Money was coming in, but this was, they were at the end of it. The old white people decided not to give them any more money, and everything was drying up. And so to kind of top everything off, they had these ICQ logs leaked between the company, the eternal talking between, who was it? Sam Jane and some other underling, and they were talking about, this person on the network, they didn't get paid. What should we do? And Sam Jane, the CEO of the company, his response was, we'll rape her and spit on her. And he actually said that. And that was kind of the end of the company. And, they were supposed to be paying me. They ended up owing me over $40,000. They kept on saying, do it next, or we'll get you next month. We're going through hard times now, next month. And, like I said before, I'm a colossal idiot. I believe them. And then they said, well, if you come into our offices and work here, then it'll be easier for you to get a check. And, of course, that didn't work either. So, kind of moved off it. I also worked there with a guy named Kevin Fragmaster Bowen, and he got off better than I did because he stole a chair from them. They fired him, and he said, okay, and he took this chair, and he just pushed it out, and he's pushing this chair, and he goes to the elevator, he goes down, he's pushing it down the hallway through the parking garage, and he puts it in his car and leaves. After that, I worked at a company called Shock Fusion. They were up in Seattle, and were actually funded by some guy who makes really disgusting architecture. I can't remember his name offhand, but he had a lot of money to go around apparently. And I worked there for a year, and they didn't release a single thing. Throughout the entire year, nothing. And I spent a majority of the time coding a game that I never ended up releasing either. So it was just a year of me doing absolutely nothing. But at that time, I was building up the website, something awful, and working on all that stuff. And I guess that leads to where we are today. Oh, yeah, I guess I should have shown this before. That's a nice picture there. Oh, excellent. So what is the internet? I think this is a very good summary of what it is. Because it just sucks. Many people think that the internet is just, like a bunch of wires but I mean, you got red lines. Oh, crap, let me get my laser pointer for this. You got green lines. You got these little blue bubbles with numbers and stuff, and you got all these lines going everywhere. Next one. Do you like that transition too? It went down. Then here's another one. You've got the place where we live here, and there's orange lines going out of its butt over there. And you got more stuff here. You got little maps down there. That's the internet too. You can go next. This is the internet. George Bush, Hitler, Skull and Bones, Pride and Stupidity, Japan, Bushido, Fat Boy, The Void. This is all kind of stuff here. This is the internet. Got your... This one's a little bit easier to understand than the Thailand one. Okay, next one. But this also is the internet. If any of you do tech support for your parents, which I'm assuming a large portion of you're probably more familiar with this one. Okay, another one. But this is the real internet. Okay, I get next one. I get another one. The internet, it's just kind of like a weird sociological experiment because, you've got people who were previously sitting in their basement reading fantasy novels all day and all night and then some. And, they've got some weird kind of fetish, or they think that, the people who make traffic signals are out to kill them, or wind is made by tigers or something like that. And they just sit there by themselves because they think they're the only ones who think that, and obviously they can't go out in public and start screaming at their wristwatch because, they get arrested or something. But what the internet does is it actually gets these people together. Before the internet, these people were just by themselves. Then they get on the internet, they do a search, and they find people that are exactly like them. And then soon, just one person goes into two. 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 16, 16. I can't go past 16, I'm sorry. I failed out of college. And so it just keeps on going on and on like that. And once a group kind of hits a certain number, then these people think that they're in the majority. And they start beginning to think that, oh, well, if you think that I'm wrong, I've got all these people here telling me that if you look at the color white, you get cancer. So obviously we're right. And obviously you're a bigot. And I get that all the time because you can't poke fun at anybody without being called, racially insensitive, even though, people who think that, hats are trying to kill them, that's not a race. Okay. Another one. So here's an example. Say you've got some guy, pre-internet, before any of this. He really likes parrots. Okay? I mean, like, more than any of us, he loves parrots. But he doesn't like them in a good way. He likes to take parrots and dip them in caramel and shove them up his ass. And, he's kind of by himself. He thinks he's all alone. He's just, sitting around doing his thing. Then he gets the internet. Then he starts doing searches, and he finds, other people like shoving parrots up their ass, too. This is great. There are other people like me. And soon, they start talking. They find more people. And then it grows, and it grows larger and larger and larger. And soon they have a website. Soon they have the parrot ass, fan club. Soon they have parrot ass mailing lists. And it just keeps going on and on like this because, having these little groups, it kind of validates whatever they're thinking. And it can be, pretty much anything. And that's one of the benefits and drawbacks of the internet is that no matter what you think, no matter who you are, you can find a group that agrees with whatever you think. Next one. This one of the benefits of the internet, like I said, along with the Parrot Ass Club, is that, when it first came out, can you move that little thingy? When the internet first got popular with the media, everybody was saying, this internet is great, it's going to break all racial boundaries, all gender boundaries, all that crap. And it hasn't. I don't really know what it's done, but it hasn't done that. With the internet, you're instantly attractive. You can be a 14-year-old female if you really want to. You can go dress up as a night elf and get, free armor. You're instantly smart. If somebody's debating you, you just go to Google and you type in whatever they're saying, and you copy and paste from, some libertarian's website. You can always find a community, shove parrots up your ass. Nobody, if you want to, nobody knows who you really are. You can just go in anywhere. You're pretending to be whoever you want to be. But the best thing is it actually keeps these people off the streets. And, after running the website and seeing how people react when I ban them from a forum, that's a good thing. But, luckily they go to IRC and just complain about there for half a decade. So I guess IRC is good, too, for a way. It also keeps you updated with all the hot new fetishes that are coming out every day. I can never even keep up with that. I've got an awful links of the day submission, and every time I read it, I just start crying. I also do that when I wake up. I don't know about point number 7. I kind of was distracted when I was writing that. But number 8, the ray tracing guy, I bet he's got like a few lists that end on 7. This list is better. We can go next. So this is the part where I tell you the wonderful timeline of something awful, which I don't remember. But I wrote down some stuff anyways. In 1999, I ran a crappy tripod site called Arc Central. Yes, thank you. Clapping for tripod. Hooray for ISPs and things. No. And anyways, what it was is just a place for me to put up my crap. And that's what the current site is too, but I'm too lazy to write these days, so I don't even do that. And back then, I came up with a couple characters, Jeff K. and Leonard Krabs. And that's because even back then, people were threatening to sue me. I would get like 16 visitors, 2 would sue me. But they'd just be ridiculous things like, you can't post that picture of my fat mom. That's copyright infringement. And I was just thinking, lady, if you can find a lawyer who would take on a case about somebody putting a picture of your fat mom on a tripod site, I'll show up at court naked. And then I decided to actually register something awful. The name Something Awful came from when I was working at GameSpy. Ken Radium Stumpf would actually say things are something awful. Like we'd go to some horrible site of the internet and we'd be like, oh, that's really something awful. And I say, I should register that. And he goes, where are you going to put it on? I said, I don't know. And I still don't. And it was in this horrible orange design. I wish I could show it to you guys because it just looked like somebody squeezed out a whole bunch of orange crap and smeared it all over the screen. And it was terrible. If you looked at it, you would go blind. And then, so I thought it was so visually offensive, I just changed all the orange lines to neon blue. And somehow that didn't make things better. In the middle of the year 2000, I decided to actually create the forums because people wanted a place to complain about me in public. And, you know, I like making dreams come true and everything. They started filling up really fast. I'm not sure why, but it developed a really close-knit community of a bunch of people who all eventually went insane and now hate me and talk about me, killing me. Yeah, and then in 2001, that's when, you know, the dot-com boom came, or bust, I'm sorry. Everything was basically falling apart, couldn't run ads. Before that, before I actually started Something Awful, people were making tons of money. You know, you could get $45 CPM. That's what the guy who was running Unreal Planet or something like that. He would just post up a screenshot, and he'd make $9,000 a day just for posting a screenshot. I mean, it was crazy back then. It was $45 CPM at sometimes. When I got into it, it was at $2, and they never paid me. And everything was just basically falling apart there. And as you see in 2001, you know, I started the creation of the paper account thing. That wasn't me trying to make money, because that would be too smart of something for me to do. That was actually me trying to keep people out. Because there's this guy, it was this 15-year-old guy who went by the name Tasty Armageddon. And what he would do is he would register accounts and post crap, and he'd do it over and over and over. And so we would ban him by his username. He'd come back again. And then so we blocked his username, and then he'd come back with a different username. So then he blocked his email address, and he'd get a new email address. We blocked his IP. He'd come in by a proxy. He was registering 42 accounts a day. And they were hilarious accounts like Triangle Man, and he would post pictures of triangles. Because it was Triangle Man. He was posting the triangles, yeah. And they do things like Magic 8 Ball. And guess what that account did? Magic 8 Ball pictures. It was hilarious. And he'd keep doing that. And I was thinking, you know, how can I get this guy to stop posting? Because we couldn't keep him the hell out. So I actually, you know, just came up with the idea that, okay, if we charge money to come in, he's not going to pay money to post pictures of triangles. And it worked. And so this wasn't any, you know, move by me to actually make money. I never thought it would work. It was just me to keep out a guy posting pictures of triangles. And after a while, somehow they just started selling themselves. You know, people started saying to other people, well, you know, you got to post in this forum. It's not actually full of idiots because, you know, idiots usually don't have credit cards. Because, you know, most of the people well, some idiots have credit cards too, like me. But, you know, most of the troublemakers and the trolls out there are just, you know, 13-year-old kids. They don't have access to credit cards, and that's one of the major boundaries that keeps them from crapping all over your community. And now it's self-sustaining, running by itself, because that's what self-sustaining means. I really like this one. If you'll notice here, like, blue is kicking ass. We're at 9. And in purple, this is purple. It shows up as red here, but take my word for it, it's purple. Purple's not doing too good. Beige isn't doing too good. But then on the 4th, red is all the way up there, and blue's just dogging it. He's in 3rd place. And man, you gotta wonder what happened. You can go next one. So, what makes up an internet community? You've got people out there posting on the internet. You've got things like computers and people and mice, sailboats, carpet, all kinds of things like that. And so, what's the secret about actually having, an internet community that doesn't turn into a bunch of idiots telling each other that they suck nonstop? Well, the first point, you have to stumble into it accidentally. That's what I did. But I guess if I'll tell you this top secret, then it's not as accidental anymore. Folks are really attracted to communities, obviously, which appeal to them. So, something awful started with me just writing stuff that appealed to me. If I thought it was funny, then I'd put it up. That's kind of my whole philosophy behind the site. And what that did was bring in people who have the same kind of sense of humor. And that way it makes the community click more because, everybody gets along with each other more or less because it's crap that appeals to them. What else do we have here? Yeah. Also, the thing about bringing in members is, this will sound, I don't know, kind of stupid, but you have to be kind of selective about what's going on. You can't let in the people who just, talk in numbers, because that'll just kill you. You get people who talk about numbers, telling each other they all suck sore and things like that, then, you can't communicate with them, and they're not bringing anything in. The next thing is, don't advertise. Don't ever advertise. If you've got something good, it'll sell itself. But if you advertise, you bring in the people who are affected by advertising. You get people who like clicking for free Xboxes, like people who like trying to shoot the kangaroo and win $100. Run the community because that's what you like to do. If all the hard times that I went through, not getting checks and having to pay for everything out of my own pocket and practically going bankrupt because, the .com wasn't paying crap to me, that'll drive you insane. If you don't actually like what you're doing, then you're going to give it up. And you have to offer something that, no other communities can. If you've got, something and you're trying to charge money for it and somebody else is giving the same thing away for free, they're going to tell you to go to hell. And they're going to say it many times in emails. And they're going to use probably stronger language. And then they're going to say it on IRC. And then they'll probably find your phone number and call you and tell you this. Okay, next one. Okay, so here are the top forums as ranked by bigboards.com, which ranks forums. Okay, you can go next one. This is the #1 forum on the internet, the most popular one, anime role-playing. This is really popular, but I don't know why. I didn't doctor this in any way, actually. What do we have here? Who hates snobby people? Well, oh, gee, I do. Sexy and fat? No. I'm going to kill Jesus? And then, it's just a bunch of people who, if you actually click the threads, it gets more horrifying because they've got these anime avatars of themselves where they've got, eyes the size of dinner plates and they're wearing skirts and they've got magic canes and crap like that. And you buy accessories with virtual money so people can see when you post that you're wearing new socks or something. And this is important to people. I don't know why. But this is the #1 forum on the internet. This is the #2 one, Face the Jury. You post pictures of your face and people say if you're ugly. Because ugly people, I guess, can't tell. And you need other people to tell you. Once again, wonderful threads. Casper, you fat bitch. No, wait. Does that say bish? She's a fat bish. That's even worse. You got your racial slur here. That's pretty funny. You got new. And so, we've got people talking in segmented, broken English. If they're ugly or not, people want that. And then we have IGN. IGN isn't really known for anything except their annoying ads. You go anywhere and you get an interstitial, and then you get an interstitial for the interstitial. Like, click here if you want to see more of the next ad. And they just float at you everywhere, and they're constantly, figuring out ways to make ads annoy you more and more. Because I guess that's the future. The future is making people want to kill themselves, so you buy their product. I don't know how that works, but anyways, for some reason, Dreamcast is here. It's like, yeah, here are all the big boards, and then Dreamcast. But, yeah. Well, if you're reading a Dreamcast for them, you're paying for something. And then, as you can tell, they have an awful lot of messages. IGN basically gets all their users because they have a crap load of money. They got recently bought by News, what the hell was it? Fox News or whatever. So, yeah, News Corporation for like $800 million. Is this worth $800 million? I don't know. And then the next one is the Vault Network, which is also on IGN. The Vault Network has one good thing going for it, and that is that it's full of people who play online role-playing games. And those people are so hardcore dedicated to posting about, where to get the next pair of enchanted boots, that they'll sit here and they'll post nonstop. They start playing the game, they'll have two windows open. They'll have dual monitors so they can figure out the best place to get their next set of jeweled underwear. I could never get into online role-playing games because they just bore the hell out of me. Then we have Off Topic. This was, if I remember correctly, it's the spawn of Counterstrike.net, and it was actually too stupid for Counter-Strike that they had to disown it. It's like the bastard child that nobody talks about and just kind of kicks to the side. Are you going to sit here eating the plate at dinner? Well, you can go sit over in the corner over there and eat the plate all you want. And, we've got great things here like tried to be a cheerleader, hot picks. I think that actually went up to 500,000 pages. And then, the eternal question, if you could eat your own weight in cherry-flavored craisins. The answer is yes. Then we have Nexopia. And I don't know what this is. It's something where does anybody know what it is? Nexopia, have you heard of it? It's the 6th most popular forum on the internet. It's some kind of teen thing where people write and display how stupid they are. Do girls poop? That was actually me asking you. Okay. And then there's something awful. Yeah, so I did a lot of surveys and extensive research, and I found out what people want. Pink. People like pink. They respond to that. Words, pictures of apes with rockets on their backpacks. We have My Vagina Hurts, but there's also a lot of other ones that talk about the male private parts too, so don't feel left out. And then in the back is a very huge image, and it's all very fun. You can go to the next one. Here's some fun facts. Okay, obviously Something Awful is the largest paid forum on the internet because as far as I know, there aren't any other paid forums on the internet. Which makes us number 1 and number last. We get about 50 new members a day, who not just from them, but 30,000 posts a day going through the forums. I think right now where we've got 6 servers running just for this. Although I got in trouble for bad-mouthing vBulletin before, I'm going to do it again. Because it's not very good. Something Awful runs on VB, and we've had to just overhaul the code because it's not designed to handle large communities. You can run it on your Sailor Moon fan site. Everybody can go in there and talk about, how cute they are and how they shot balls of lightning in slow motion at each other, and it'll just be fun. but it's not good when you start getting a whole bunch of users. I get 9 gigs of email a year, and 68% are spam and 7% are viruses. I think 2% are from my family, and then the rest are people saying that I could have done something else better, or I should stop writing, or trash, whatever. We send out 150 terabytes of data a year, and when the forums are maxed out, there's at least 5,300 people on. And right now the forum load is way down just because I've got a coder, Radium, that does all this stuff, and it's running amazingly well despite VB being a huge product. Yeah, I'm just kind of reading what's already up there, so I don't know what good this is. 21 million unique visitors a year. We serve over 408 million HTML pages a year. The thing that impressed me the most is that, look at the IE and Firefox thing. They're almost even here. I mean, I know that doesn't kind of jive with the, I think, what are they saying, like 10% of people use Firefox now or something? But I guess it's just the user base that we have. I mean, I'm sure most everybody, does anybody here use IE? You can raise your hand. Okay. I use Firefox, but it crashes all the time on me. Is the Firefox guy here? Why does my Firefox crash? I installed it twice. I even took off the extensions. Okay. Here's the rest of the sites. Number 8 is hardware.fr. FR stands for France. They talk in a moon language here. I clicked on the threads, couldn't read them, gave up. Then we've got FOC. But some of these you can read like sex. It's like I would say it's a universal language, but it's English, so I'm not. And then we've got school is out, let's get drunk. Where is it? Right here. See, even on FOC, they can't spell school right. I mean, they got everything else right, even the apostrophe. Most, Americans don't even know what apostrophe is. But why the K for school? I mean, you expect more from FOC. And then number 10 is the Volkswagen Vortex forums. The 10th most popular forum on the internet is for Volkswagen cars. And as you can see here, there's 2.3 million posts for the Golf 4 and Jetta 4. There's just people posting like crazy about their Volkswagen. Like they're just sitting there like, yeah, man, my Volkswagen is awesome. Finally a forum for me to talk about it. They'll never find the bodies. Never. This is from the movie .com for Murder. Has anybody seen it? It was really good because it's about a guy who sits on chat rooms, and then when people insult him, he goes crazy, and he wears these magical typing gloves. My wife actually got me a set. They're awesome. They have little lasers on the fingers, so when you type, they shoot lasers at the keys, and they're orange, and then you feel like, you're from the future. And it is so good. And Huey Lewis is actually in this movie, and one of the guys from The Who. I can't remember who. That wasn't a joke. I don't remember who it was. But he doesn't murder them. So is .com for not murder. Okay, here's where the speech starts getting boring. Okay, so anyways, about maintaining a community, most people just think that, if I ban them or something like that, I'm just a cruel tyrant, I'm Hitler. People call me Hitler all the time because I banned them from a forum. I've never understood that. On the internet, it's like everybody's Hitler. They always say that. It's like, well, yeah, you didn't kill millions of Jews, but you're Hitler. And that's just like the universally accepted insult. You're gay or you're Hitler. You're gay Hitler. You're Hitler if he was gay. Everything basically just boils down to balance. You've got new people coming in, you've got veterans who've been there a long time, and you have to make sure that you've got something balanced in between. Because if you get veterans, and you reward them from everything, then they adopt this stance where everybody coming in is a jackass and they don't know anything. And they have this little circle jerk of people saying, oh, well, user, you're the coolest in the world. Oh, no, you're the coolest in the world. Then a new user comes in, they're just like, get out of here. Who are you? We're the veterans. We've been here forever. We're on the internet. The next thing is balance between having a ton of options and subforums and being user-friendly. There's one thing that I've discovered on the internet is people don't like to read. They get on the internet, but they don't like to read. I don't know what they do, but it's something. They don't like to scroll. They don't like to read. So what you have to do is you have to balance everything out. You have to try to make everything as user-friendly as possible, because if you leave out an option or put it in place that they're not going to find it, they'll email you to let you know that it's not there. And they'll be pretty mad about it, too. They're like, hey, is that guy sleeping? Oh, I thought you were sleeping. The next one is you have to balance between growing too fast and stagnating. And I kept spelling that like stagnatating when I first wrote this. Stagnatating, I'm going to start calling it that. Stagnatating, no, I'm not. Stagnating is basically, death of the forum. If your community stagnates, you're going to get the same people over. Nothing's going to come in. You're going to have the same crap flying around, and it'll die off. But if you get new users coming in, like a faucet turned on, then it's just going to be a bunch of people saying, lol. And then the next reply will be, lol. And then maybe if they're feeling really whack, you'll get lol lol, which is like double the lol. If they could square lol, that would be really funny. Obviously, you've got to balance between the rules. Heavy moderation, you're Hitler or gay Hitler. And if you're really liberal, then obviously everybody's going to think they can get away with the rules, and you're going to have lol, lol, lol. And a community of lols will not live. What is my next one? I wrote this at, like I said before, 3:30 a.m. Yeah, and you have to listen to the users, obviously. But the problem with that is everybody has their own idea of how everything should be run, and according to them, they're right and you're wrong. All the time. I'm being told all the time that everything that I'm doing is wrong and that there's this way to do it. But the thing is that, that's only for like one person. They're like, yeah, man, I really want an exercise forum about exercising with your motorcycle. And I want it to be able so you can upload flash movies of exit signs. Because my girlfriend, she's really hot. She loves it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll see if everybody else wants that. And usually they do. Avoiding advertising. Oh, hit it again. Check that out. It's like 3D. He's wearing glasses. And he has a bone around his neck. Man, if you're a dog, you'd want that bone in your mouth. Why'd you wear it on your neck? Anyways, if you're running, obviously, a website, you're going to have people who want to advertise on there. Back during the .com stuff, the main problem was people would want to advertise on your sites to these networks, but the ads would be completely untargeted. You'd have, things for Viagra, and then they would rotate with gambling, and then it'd rotate it with roller skates, and nothing would match anywhere. And I would tell them over and over, the reason nobody's clicking on your ads is because your ads suck. You're not targeting it. Okay, we've got the users in this demographic. They're usually around, between 18 and 30 or something like that. Most of them are very computer literate. Things that appeal to them, DVDs, computer electronics, anime, things like that. Not the anime role-playing forums, though. And, I tell them that, but they didn't target ads. They would just serve up random crap. Hey, new shoes, click here, Click here if you really don't like President Bush, things like that. Wait, Bush wasn't in back then. Clinton. But anyways, like right now, they're actually legitimate ad companies. They'll actually write you checks and things like that. The problem is when you actually start running ads, you start alienating the people who are there. And unfortunately, while that may be a short-term gain, you're losing people in the long term because they start associating your site with a bunch of, pop-up flash ads that are getting more and more intrusive. And advertisers want more and more. They want DirectX stuff. They want to make stuff where you have to give your blood type. When something flies on the screen and then a full motion video of a Ford truck comes in and some guy's like, Ford truck, America, yeah, buy a truck. I can sing more if you want. Now, I'm sure this has been done to death before, but the Mega Man cover art was just the funniest thing in the world because I remember getting it when it came out. And we played the game, we're like, this doesn't match with the cover. He looks like George Bush kind of there. Because he's missing his lips, he's holding a gun, and there's golden asses growing out of the ground. And then behind him, there's stuff exploding and like a 70s recreation of what they thought Atlantis would look like. And those palm trees are huge. Like there's a city, but there's those huge palm trees. There's an explosion there, and Mega Man's just sitting here. I don't know. You got to keep moving. Everything's got to keep moving. It doesn't matter if you're moving forward, backwards, or sideways. You just got to have momentum because, if you stop moving, stagnate, stuff starts to die. People get bored. Nobody's coming in. Nobody's coming out. And even if you're moving backwards, sometimes, just come in, shake things up. It may seem bad at first. There's one time when people were just posting crap. Just on the forums. It would just be crap. There was circle jerks everywhere. People were just, having their own little community stuff. This is probably back in like 2001 or whatever. And I actually left the forums for that period because I'm just like, this sucks. I don't want to stay around here anymore. And then Zach, the guy running the forums, came in and did some kind of, what he did. He said, if you post between 6 and 6:15, I will ban you. And he had it up there for a week. And people still missed it, and they posted between 6 and 6:15, and he banned them. And I know that's not fair. I mean, people paid $10 to get in, and they lost it because they posted between 6 and 6:15. But it worked. I mean, things were going backwards and backwards. You have this kind of goofy thing, and it actually, in the long run, worked. I'm not going to do it again. But it was something kind of interesting. The third point, number C, geez. Now I haven't spoke since high school. I was cutting mashed potatoes, and I nearly cut off my thumb. You probably can't see this, but I was just sitting there cutting the mashed potatoes, and then all of a sudden, I noticed the potatoes were bleeding. It was one of those really sharp knives. And I started thinking, I'm like, potatoes don't have blood in them. And I was pretty sure about that. And then I started thinking, did you see that movie with, who's that? That guy who runs a really boring site, Will Wheaton. Did you see that? Did you see the movie where he was in the farm and they were pulling up vegetables and all the vegetables were bleeding? It was like The Curse or something. The Cursed Farm of the Bleeding Vegetables, starring Will Wheaton, nerd from Star Trek. Did anybody see that? I'm not making this up. Somebody saw the Vegetable Farm movie, please. Raise your hand. Just, yes, thank you. And he's not raising his hand just because I pay him and he writes for the site. He actually saw it. And anyways, I cut off my thumb making mashed potatoes and it's bleeding everywhere. And so my solution was to sit on the couch and drink beer until I forgot about it. But now it's kind of fallen off, and I'm afraid another thumb's going to grow from it. And death equals death, too. Click again. That's another shot from .com for Murder. Once again, I'm going to recommend this movie. Roger Daltrey, is that his name from The Who? Dalton? Daltrey? No, Roger Dalton was James Bond, right? Timothy... James Bond was in this movie. Yeah, the next thing is kill drama. You know, you've got people who, obviously, they're in the minority, but there's some people out there who don't quite fit in everywhere. And then once they find a community where they do fit in, you know, since they don't really have any life outside of the internet, they kind of want to start drama on the internet. And that's really the saddest thing in the world. Like, yeah, well, nothing's going on here, so let's stir things up on the internet. I heard you're having sex with somebody else on the internet. What do you think about that? And they just keep doing that over and over. And then it gets, you know, it's pretty interesting at first seeing two people calling each other faggots. But then after a while, it loses appeal. I'm not sure why. And then, you know, after the initial drama, stagnation. Whew. Yeah, the next one, kill trolls, obviously. Keep out the idiots. You know, it's a pretty, go click it again, and a nice picture will come in. Ta-da! Gotta have your priorities. I'm about to die, but I'm going to die on the internet. You know, you've got to keep out the people who just, you know, basically if you're building community, you want the people coming in to reflect, you know, the rest of the members coming in. And the AOL speak, the people who, you know, write in sentences that have more numbers than letters, that's infectious. If people see that they can type like that and get away with it, everybody does that. You know, they say, oh, well, it's okay for this guy, so I'm going to start doing it. That's the same thing with catchphrases. You know, somebody starts a catchphrase like, hey, I'm going to go sit on your head. And they post that, and somebody else thinks it's funny. Then soon, hey, I'm going to go sit on your head. Post, you know, everybody's posting the same thing over and over. And, you know, when you've got people who think the formula for comedy is just repeating the same thing over and over in different ways, then once again, you're back to stagnation. I like that word. Yeah, and don't kill them in real life, too. That is illegal. Again. Basically, what it all sums down to is if you're trying to create a community on the internet, you know, you got to do it because you love doing it. You know, you can't do it for money. You can't do it if you want to be some big popular guy on the internet. I'm not sure why you would want to be that because it's really kind of crappy. But, you know, you just do it because you love it and it's fun. I love running something awful. I love the forums. I love the community. I think it's just, you know, it's just a great site and it's full of great people, and I'm really proud of everything that's become. And you know, that's the reason why you can't name any like huge corporations out there that have gigantic, you know, forums, because oh man, let's go post on the General Motors forums. It's going to be great. Talk about what I did on the weekend. Get to see an ad for a car, maybe a woman standing next to it. Yeah, that'll be fun. You know, it just all boils down to doing it because that's what you love. I'm sure somebody's offended by these pictures. That's all I'm saying. The future is something awful. We've got a lot of stuff planned. Obviously, my whole goal when I started the site was to have, like, you know, pretty much a one-stop community. You can go there, you can find everything that you're looking for, you can find a good community, you can find somewhere to find whatever information you're looking for, whatever products and stuff like that. Obviously, it hasn't really panned out, and some of my ideas are a little bit too out of there, like, listening to the community and listening to them say, oh, we want free MP3s. So I created a forum for that. And it worked well for a while. And then they said, oh, well, we want a forum for torrenting, pirated movies. And so I created a forum for that, and that was okay for a while. And they were like, oh, I want a forum for porn. That was never okay, really. But, some of the things you have to scrap. I'm sure there's at least another site out there that has porn on it. Another thing that we're working on is awful video. Right now we're distributing Mega 64, which are some guys who dress up as video game characters and perform skits in the middle of public when nobody knows what's going on. They're going to be releasing the version 2 of the Mega 64 thing. You can go to mega64.com and see a bunch of stuff. One of their most famous things is they actually dressed up as the L-shaped Tetris block and ran around in public. And the guy in the costume was trying to fit in to make a full Tetris with things. So people just be walking around. There's guys in this huge Tetris block, and he sees like a, what was it? It was like a mailbox. And just like, just keep doing that. Version 2 is going to be coming out, and they've got a whole bunch of skits. We're going to be doing a Katamari Damacy skit where we're actually rolling a huge ball with Velcro and picking up things with it. What else? We did a Super Mario Brothers 2 skit in Missouri where the guy dressed up as Mario, and I had this huge mask. Do you remember when you picked up a key in Super Mario Brothers 2 and that mask would chase you? That scared the hell out of me. I could never get out of there. But we would place a key in like a really an area where everyone was walking, and then Mario would be like, "Oh, a key!" And then all of a sudden, the guy with the mask would come running out, and we'd run through all the shops with Mario being chased by the big mask. We did Resident Evil where we went through a Target as zombies. They kicked us out and called the manager. And this weekend we're going to be doing... Oh, they did Burger Time too. This is going to be for the version 2 where the main character was dressed up as a chef, and he went to a McDonald's and he ordered hamburgers. He's like, no pickles. I hate pickles. No pickles. Then he got the hamburger. He's like, oh, there's pickles on here. He just throws it on the ground and starts stomping on it. And then another guy comes and dressed up as a hot dog costume. He's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then they start fighting in the middle of the McDonald's. And they just do that in different locations. We're going to be filming a Double Dragon skit where my wife is going to be wearing a magenta leotard, fake boobs, and a giant afro and a whip. And she's going to be whipping people outside of a store and get beaten up. It's all kind of, it's really funny though. If you go to mega64.com, they've got free teasers of some of the movies up there. They're doing stuff for Ubisoft right now, the Splinter Cell things. And as another note about that, have you heard of the game Far Cry Instinct? They were asked to do a promo for that. And, the whole thing is that you're some kind of animal and that you get powers and you can, like, sniff people's blood and then you can track them down. But apparently what they did was a little bit too weird. Because in this skit, he was like, yeah, this is how you do it, okay? And they went into an actual bathroom, like public bathroom, and they had a bunch of blood on the sink. And the guy was like, yeah, you just sniff the blood. Oh, this is good blood. Oh, yeah. And then he like pretended to cut open his vein and start shoving the blood inside of him. And then he went to a toilet and drank diarrhea. I don't think you can actually do that in the game, so I think that's why they got upset. Other things, Awful Hosting are going to be offering hosting. It's going to be tied with tight integration to the forums. along with the forums, are going to be completely recoding everything there, so it's not on VB, and we don't have to stand by their crappy code. Radium is just doing a great job coding up everything, and it's going to... Thank you. He likes Radium. We're also going to be releasing some books. Zach is a very big World War II aficionado, and so he's writing a book about German tanks. From World War II. And also, I'm going to be writing a bunch of things called awful guides, which are just going to be tiny little guidebooks, like Guide to Pregnancy, Guide to Using the Internet, just little goofy books that you can get for like $5 or something like that. And along with the publishing, we're going to start offering things for the community, like if somebody, it's just, the Something Awful forums are full of so creative people that, you've got artists, you've got musicians and everything. We're going to actually just try to give them a chance to distribute their stuff. And, if they make cool T-shirt designs, we're going to start independently doing them and selling them, things like that, for them to actually help them out. And that's pretty much about it. Do I have another? I think that's the end of it. And so that's the end of the Internet. Okay. And you can stick around and ask questions if you want to. Does anybody have any questions about the Internet? Yes, sir.
Really, have you ever thought about giving up on the forums? I know with the whole Ryan Lord business, have you ever just thought about saying screw it and...
No. Well, okay, because you have to... Yeah, you think you got me on that one, but you didn't. They boil faster if you cut them into fourths, because then instead of putting the whole potatoes and putting there and taking an hour boiling, if you cut them into quarters, then they boil and cook in about 15 minutes. What? Not a good one. Okay. Yes. Beating up on trolls? Are you asking what actions do we take on people who make fun of trolls? Me too. Probation. We've got the probation system for stuff that, people getting banned obviously is harsh. That's the thing that, we want to balance and make it fair. If people put an actual money investment in, we don't want to just be quick to take that away and say, oh yeah, get the hell out of here. We got your $10, because that's just a really jerk thing to do. So what we have is a probation system. So if, there's some minor infraction of the rule, the person, just made a mistake, just like, oh, you can't post for an hour or something like that. It just proves the point that, okay, in the future, don't beat up on people or something. Yes? There's tons of troll posts, yeah. Like going into a thread, say like the thread is, I'm a Christian, ask me threads about Christianity, and then somebody posts, Jesus sucks. That'd be a good troll. Who? Because he was a faggot. See, that's internet talk. And that's actually another interesting thing. The word faggot, it doesn't even have any relation to like homosexuality anymore. It's like it's been used so much that it's just a generic insult on the internet. I mean, people just use it, they say, oh, you're a faggot, but it doesn't mean that you're gay or anything. I don't even think it has a gender term on the internet. Obviously, in real life, if you say it, it has some kind of connotation to it. But on the internet, it's just been used so much over and over that it means nothing. It's just generic. I don't know why I was talking about that, but yes, the large woman with a hat. I didn't even create that. That was Zach's thing, and it was supposed to be like, I don't know. I think I'm too dumb to understand it. But I think it was either supposed to be a joke or an anti-joke or an anti-anti-joke. But either way, I didn't read it and understand it, and I just kind of stayed away from it. Oh yeah, talking about the corporations not being able to. I was asked to repeat the question again, but he asked if, corporations not being able to form communities and things like that, if they're ever going to try to do that. What corporations try to do is basically what the news, the Rupert Murdoch's news thing does. They just buy them. IGN, you get an offer for $800 million, and all your sites are just talking about elf boots. Then yeah, you're going to take that. And so that's the easiest thing for them to do is just, buy it from somebody else and hope that, they've got a webmaster that, really cares about the stuff. Because these corporations, if they want to sit down and say, yeah, I want to build a website that's going to attract a lot of people and, get a lot of attention, people are going to like posting here, they can have all their, engineers build something, they can have all the marketing guys figure out what people want, they can have the graphic designers do that. But if they don't have actually somebody who cares and actually gives a shit about the people there, then nobody's going to go there. And so, that's the thing. You actually have to, have a heart and actually care about what you're doing to keep it going.
Well, speaking of corporations, what was your situation with PayPal?
Oh, yeah, the PayPal situation. Basically, PayPal, okay, here's the backstory. With the Hurricane Katrina deal, Radium, our main coder, he lived down there. His parents lived down there. They lived down there for like tens and tens of years. They had a grocery store chain completely wiped out. Their house completely wiped out and everything. Our servers are down there, so everything was down for 5 days. And when everything came back up, we tried to raise some money, and the only way that we could do it was through PayPal, because what I wanted to do was send out free merchandise to everybody who donated, just to say, thanks for actually helping people out. And within something like 12 hours, we raised over $30,000 for that. And I was saying, yeah, this is going to go to the Red Cross, but PayPal decided to freeze the account because obviously getting $30,000 in 12 hours seems suspicious to them. I don't blame them for that. But what they did was, they just froze it and they didn't contact me. They didn't say anything that was going on. And so I had to go through and find their number. I was like, okay, yeah, what's going on? They're like, okay, well, we've got all this money from you and we don't know if it's legit and we need this information from you. And then one of the things I had to fill out was this this form saying we need proof that merchandise was shipped. And I said, well, we just got the donations in. I haven't shipped out anything yet. And then it didn't even give you a box to fill it in. It would just say cancel. And so even if I shipped out the thing that I wasn't shipping, I couldn't ship it and tell PayPal that the thing that I didn't have was shipped. And so I called them up, and I got a very cheery person who basically told me to go to hell. And then eventually we got things straightened out. I'm just like, listen, we're just trying to do a fundraiser. If you think that I'm trying to scam people, that's fine. I can understand that. There's a lot of creeps on the internet who would do something like that. You can directly take the money. You can freeze me out of the account, and you can donate it to the Red Cross yourself. I won't touch a single thing. And they said, well, we're only friends with the United Way, so we'd have to give the money to the United Way. And at the time, I was just thinking, okay, fine, a charity's a charity. And then I posted about it, and then I got all these emails from people saying, don't go with the United Way. Look at this. Here's 18%, and then this is 9%. So 9% is better, and United Way is 18%. And I didn't know what the numbers meant, but 18 and 9, there's a big difference there. So, since these people gave me, since they donated their money, I felt that it'd be kind of unfair to all of a sudden go to a different donor sponsorship or whatever. So I just said, okay, refund everybody's money. They did that. So nobody got anything. It was a great donation drive. My avatar in the forums is a pig. I guess this was an important question. There is no deal with it. There's just one day I just said, oh yeah, I'm going to ban the next person who posts that stupid pig image. I had no idea what I was talking about. I think it was like 2 a.m. There's no pig image. I just posted that. And then somebody posted a picture of a pig, and I pretended to get really mad and put the person on probation. And then I used it as my avatar. And then ever since then, it's been pig, pig, pig. It's like one of those things where, like, if somebody gives you a collectible plate for your birthday or something, and then you put it up on the shelf or whatever, and everybody thinks, oh, well, you really like collectible plates. And then you keep getting them over and over. And then soon your house is full of collectible plates. That's the way I am with pigs. I hate those bastards. And this conference is killing the rate tracers. They've gone home, they're crying already because they know it was a failure. How did I get Dave Kelly to work? He is the Flash Tub guy who makes all the cartoons. Basically, I said, do you want to work? And he said, yes. I mean, I wish I could make up a story behind it, but that was really about it. He's just, if you go to the site, look at the Flash Tub, look at some of the earlier Flash Tubs, because those are the ones I did, the magnificent, I was about to say magnificent voices for, and then I screwed up saying that, so obviously there's a error here. But he just loves animation, and he just loves drawing, and that's all he wants to do, and that's why I can pay him really little, and he does a lot of work. This isn't going to be a mashed potato question again, is it? Okay. He was asking about how the users come in. Usually everything spikes when college starts. And it goes down in the summer. And it goes down around Christmas. And then it goes back up again after Christmas. It's just kind of, just think about, when are people so bored that they have to use the internet? College. That and The Price is Right. Yeah, he was asking about the paying situation, what I do with the employees. I pay all the people who write on the front page. There's sometimes I make them go through trials of 2 months to make sure that they won't all of a sudden start writing about how they want to stick Crayolas in their eyes and blood. Because, you have to worry about that on the internet. But everybody who does stuff for the front page, I pay. The moderators, since there's currently 50 of them, obviously I can't pay people to moderate. And the people who, you want to moderate are people who want to do it without getting paid anyways, because it shows that their heart's in the right position. But Zach was the first person I started paying because he's been with me the longest, and he's been writing, ever since I think 2001 or so. And then after that, Livestock, and I can't even remember now. I used to pay Frags, but now he doesn't write anything. Oh, he was asking what happened to Ben Greaston Platt. He used to write movie reviews. He disappeared. What happened was I paid him a check, and then he disappeared. It was the great mystery of the check that makes people disappear. Oh, the clown balloon. That was when somebody gets banned, they get to see his picture of this big balloon, and there's a clown's face on it. It's very festive. I don't know where it came from. I think I just did a random Google image search, and I said, oh, well, that's a really happy balloon. People should look at that when they're banned. Well, because people like balloons and clowns on balloons. But, see, most of these stories are just really boring. I don't go anywhere with them. So keep asking questions. Yes. The hosting company has been awesome. Did you ever, oh geez, what was the name of it? Fancy ringtone. Are you going to take that? When the hurricane was going on, the people were in the co-location center, and they're actually holed up inside there with rations, making sure, the diesel generators were running and putting gas into them and everything. The guy had a blog. I can't remember what it was. It was like the Interlocutor or something like that. Internetter, something. But yeah, they kept it up as long as they could. The problem was that, all the OC3s were going down because everybody was afraid or couldn't get into the city to actually do it. The actual building itself wasn't hit because it was in the building that Enron built before Enron took the big dive. They were on the 13th floor, and the entire time there's always a staff of like 5 people, and one of them was like ex-military who served in Iraq. And so he was talking about how he'd do rounds looking for, military terminology of some sort and all this kind of crap. But he sounded really smart about it, and that was enough for me. And right now the servers are still down there, and they're doing a great job of it. It's, I can't even think of the host now. What does it say in the upper right? Zippa. That's it, Zippa. So if you want to be hosted by people who will stay by the servers fueling a diesel generator while there's a hurricane and people are shooting each other outside, Zippa. No, they weren't really strapped to the car. They were safe in the center next to a giant diesel guzzling beast. I don't know, but it better not be in the pink form. He was asking about since, the one-time fee. That was actually something that I was worried about for, people are saying, yeah, do micropayments. That's the way of the future. Remember when everybody was going on about that crap? Nobody does micropayments now. That just failed out. It's just another stupid RSS feed of the blogosphere or whatever. But I don't know. I just can't see myself doing a monthly fee, and I don't think I'll ever do something like that. And the way the community is like I said before, it's just an awesome community, and the people there realize that, we've got server bills that right now it's $2,200 a month just for bandwidth, and if we actually move out of there, then the cheapest price, because we move 100 megabit, we peak at 100 megabit, usually move around between 50 and 60, I think, burst to about 95. The cheapest that we can get is about, between $50 and $60 per megabit moving to Kansas City. So, obviously 50 to 60 times 100 is a lot more there, and that's not even including rack space and all the electrical crap and all that stuff. But I don't know where I was going with that. I don't think that'll be a problem, and if it is a problem, I'm sure the people will figure out some way to deal with it. But the way the community is right now, people understand that this is something that you have a one-time fee. People buy custom tiles. People buy each other custom tiles. It's just a really giving community. So it's always sustaining itself, like I said before.
What kind of brainstorming precedes by it? Like, what was the motivation?
He was asking what the motivation for creating the FYD forum, which stands for Fuck You and Die. Originally, that forum was made to keep all the people flaming each other and trolling each other out of all the other forums. Like, it was, the grown-ups sit at this table, then everybody else goes over there. That was the original purpose, but over the years, it's actually, and back when we first created it, people actually did that, and it was the saddest thing in the world, because these people would be trying to outflame each other on the internet, and they'd just be like, well, you suck ass. And you'd be like, well, you know what? You suck double the ass and balls. And their guy would be like, oh, you know what? Your mom's dick is small. And it'd just go on and on like that, except they were serious. And they were actually thinking that, if they do this kind of thing, that the other person would just be like, oh, man, you have bested me on the internet. I am retiring. I am done with this. I can't keep up with you guys. But now it's got its own sense. I post in there all the time because it's just this weird kind of, non sequitur kind of humor that just, I don't even know how to describe it. And if you haven't been there, don't go there. Because, I don't know. It's really funny, but just in a way that if you don't understand the humor, then you'll get told to get out. And even if you do, you'll get told to get out too. It's like a club treehouse full of people who hate you. We're releasing the crowd now, so if you want to leave, you can leave, but if you want to stay and ask questions, you can do that too. But it was a pleasure speaking to you all. And if you leave, I have nothing against you.
Thanks a lot. That was great.
Oh, sure. My hands are cold.
Where the Mountain Climber game came from?
No.
The original model that was on the show for 30 years, had a husband who worked for the government that was lost in the mountains and declared dead. And when they introduced that game, she ran off the stage in hysterics, and they've never modified it.
Wow. Well, I did not know that, and I thank you.
You'll remember that.
I will now, yes.
Thanks for coming here.
What's that?
I wouldn't get that close to him. He's kind of weird.